Hello everyone. My name is Supriya Bhualka. I'm an educator and the founder of Coding and More. We are very excited to have you all here. Today we have Manika Zaveri, one of our students, who is going to present her project on a lung cancer AI predictor. She actually won Technovation Girls last year in 23, and she was in grade 6 then. So over to you, Manika. Please share your project and why you did it. And we are very open to questions, so please ask her along the way.
So I'm sure everybody in this meeting has heard of the disease cancer. It's very deadly, it's very dangerous, and the cases are drastically increasing in India. And let's take one cancer, lung cancer. So after 2 months of research, I these are a few points that I found out on lung cancer. That it is one of the most common cancers in India, and it accounts for 9.3% of all the death cases. There were over 70,000 cases in 2022, and they are expected to rise sharply to over 81,000 in males and 30,000 in females by 2025. And the worst part is that people mistake these for normal coughs and flus. And the symptoms of lung cancer don't appear till the disease has reached such a stage where it's too late to get rid of. And thus, after all this research, I've made my app LC Care. Lung cancer care, in brief, identifies your potential risk of getting lung cancer at a low cost and guides you on your next possible actions. So I'm just going to show you all a small a demonstration of how it works.
Hello and welcome to LC Care.
Manika,
This helps you
your app.
lung cancer risk with a low cost, and it also helps you take the appropriate decisions based on your cancer risk status.
Monica, sweetie, we cannot see your app. We can just see the presentation.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to LC Care. This app helps you to know your lung cancer risk with a low cost, and it also helps you take the appropriate decisions based on your cancer risk status.
This is a small brief of how the app works. And then this goes to a questionnaire that all the users have to fill describing their symptoms. I try to make it as simple and user-friendly as possible so the users can understand it. If you are at a risk of lung cancer, it'll show you a page like this, which takes you to different websites. For example, if you want to get connected to doctors or hospitals, I've attached some links so it can help a lot of people. For example, if you aren't at a risk of lung cancer, it'll show you a page like this. Yeah. So I've trained my app on App Lab. This is how the code looks like. I'll just switch back to the presentation. Yeah. So I've taken the data of my app from the symptoms of the past patients who were diagnosed with lung cancer, and I've taken it from Kaggle, which is the world's largest data science platform. I've trained my app, as I mentioned, on App Lab, which is another platform that supports simple AI user-friendly apps. I made sure to include all the ethics in AI. I made sure that it was fair and inclusive. The data that I took from the patients, I made sure they were fair to both genders, male and female, and there were also different ages, not only children or only teens. I made sure my app was responsible and had a good accuracy so it can be relied on. I made sure it was safe and didn't force you to reveal any personal information. And I made sure it was transparent. as in the disclaimer, I mentioned where I got my sources from. So, the one of the main things in Technovation is how your app is better from the other possible solutions. So, these are a few stuff that check. Of course, it uses AI, which makes the prediction much more easier and more accurate. It's completely user friendly, and like many apps, you don't have to put any personal information, nothing that can get you hacked or you feel uncomfortable with. And in many apps, it's either a prediction or an action. Either you predict if you have lung cancer, or it tells you how to avoid it. My app has both. And of course, many apps, I've tested it and I've tried it with different variations, and the answers have come wrong. So I kept training my app till it reached a good accuracy. So I managed to get an interview with an amazing oncologist, a cancer specialist, Dr. Amish Dalal, and he gave me a lot of tips for which I had a few ideas on how to expand my app in the future. Of course, I want to add more types of cancers like leukemia, breast cancer, prostate cancer, so it can be used by a greater variety of people. Of course, I want to increase the accuracy so it can be relied on much more. And I wanted to add a feature for the blind, so even the people who have a disability of not seeing can use this app. It's like a chatbot. How we have a Siri and Alexa. This chatbot can ask you questions and you can communicate with it, and then it can tell you a response. I haven't published my app yet, but I do plan to do it very soon once I've expanded my app. And with that, I conclude that I really hope my app helps my community and eventually somehow helps the world. Thank you.
That's very good, Manika. Does anybody have any questions here on how she made the app or anything at all? I know that Gia is also participating in Technovation this year. So if anybody wants any tips from Manika, and I'm sorry I don't recognize Nena, but or if any of the teachers have any questions. I have a question, Manika, while we are waiting for others to think. What was one of the challenges that you faced when you were making this app? And my second follow-up question, what was your learning by doing this app?
So, we in AI class we learn a lot about bias learning and bias apps. And at the start, when I was making my app with Miss Sneha, there were a lot of biases. It continuously kept predicting that you are at a risk, and that's why I had to keep multiplying the codes. I had to keep adding more lines of no's to make it similar. And I learned, like, I actually did some research about a lot of other biasness in AI apps, and that's what I learned. Also, one of the biggest difficulty was choosing the topic in the first place, which took like 2 months.
Sorry, go ahead. Can you repeat the last sentence, darling?
Yeah, also one of the biggest difficulty I faced was choosing an idea for my project, which took like 3 months of research, and then I finally narrowed it down to cancer because it was one of the most dangerous problems.
Very nice. Anybody else has any questions? Neha, would you like to share anything because you worked with Manika for this project?
Yeah, I think she's been, excellent throughout. Like she said, it took a while to select a topic. So people who are participating for Technovation, don't be in a hurry, of selecting the topic and then not being happy with it later on. So first, be sure about what you want to do and then proceed ahead. But it's good that if you start like 7 to 8 months in advance before the challenge. Yeah. And Monica has been amazing throughout. She's worked really hard on this, and she has been, completely involved into what she was doing. Really commendable.
Manika, I also wanted to ask you, in your AI classes earlier, you were using different platforms, and App Lab was something that you learned along the way, right?
Yeah.
So how was that journey? I mean, what made you choose App Lab over the other platforms?
It was user friendly. And even in designing, it had a lot of more features, and I wanted to make it as user friendly as possible. So I choose App Lab. I think I was like the only one who skipped that, and like a lot of other people knew it. So I anyways wanted to try something new, besides machine learning and Scratch.
So you were able to both, have a new topic and pick up a new platform and put it together.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Would anybody else like to ask Manika anything else? No. The idea of doing these student showcases are twofold. One is to give children a chance, to pitch their project, because in real life also, it's not just about making a product, but to be also able to explain it coherently so that other people can understand it. And as you could see, that Manika, in spite of being a really young girl, was able to explain her project to all of you. And I hope you'll have all understood what her intent was and how she went about making it. And secondly, it is also to encourage other children to know that you too can learn AI and build products that matter to you or are useful for the community. So I also want to ask you, Manika, would you like to share what are the next steps now going forward for you?
For this app specifically,
This app or in general?
so again, I'm in a lot of the Technovation competitions to follow. I'm gonna, I think, stick to the topic of good health and well-being, UNSDG number 3, and continue making apps on medicine and diseases because it's one of the most helpful apps. And I think now, in many of the apps, the accuracies, a lot of them don't work. And the main point of this is early detection to save more lives. So I think, tuberculosis, cancer, insect diseases, I'm gonna stick on, at least follow that.
Okay, great. I wish you all the best. And does anybody have any questions?
So, hi Manika, this is Swarnam. How many iterations did you go through before your
Sorry.
final? How many iterations did you go through with your code?
Um, a lot. Like I haven't counted because the presentation itself took a lot of time making the videos, and then to make sure that my app was accurate, I had to keep feeding it with more data. So I had to make sure, because the most difficult part about an app is to make sure there are no biases. So I would say approx like about like 30 to 40 times, keep playing it again and again, and I had to add like a lot more lines of code and data.
Well, thank you everyone for being here today on a Saturday afternoon. Thank you, Manika, for sharing your project. I hope it inspires others also, to keep learning and keep showcasing their learning through applications that help the community.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it is an excellent platform also. So Priya, I have to tell you, that Coding and More is doing a great job. I think Manika picked up her interest from here. And I think sky's the limit. So yes. But thank you all, especially teachers, who really guide her. And I know while doing this app, though it is completely Manika's effort and completely her research, completely. But at the same time, the teachers have been quite on point, always available. I know Sneha sometimes moved out of parties to help her, right, Mani, in the night. So I think it all worked out very well. So thank you so much for all of that.
Thank you.